Talking point platform. TTPTV. Oh yeah. Unale we pledge with love and loyalty to we sweet, sweet mama salute. Now we all come together as one. For tomorrow, now we go make salute.
Stories them today at the program. We look at the constitutional review process, how far it is now. And for Sekadata, I want for welcome the Deputy Justice Minister, Alpha Sise. Good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Good morning, Musa, and good morning, other members of the 98.1 team.
Okay. Anytime from now, we expect for be joined at the studio by Ibrahim Tomei, Executive Director, Center for Accountability and the Rule of Law, CAL, for joining at the program anytime from now. Well, the constitutional review process be don't start long term as one part of the recommendations them at the TRC report, but for long term now, we people know they get about the constitutional review. They join the Justice Minister for giving background as to the reason for the review and how far the review day now.
Thank you, Musa. I'm glad the way you set the premise. Say, this net process will go back to the Country in Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where we set up after the war come to an end. But really, just for states, say, even go beyond that, because when we signed the peace agreement with the RAF in 1999, a Lome, which we call the Lome Peace Agreement, there was an express provision inside this agreement, say, we will take steps for review the national constitution. And so that become reflected in discussions which take place at the TRC. TRC, of course, hold hearings all across the country. And one of the key recommendations at the TRC have been for make the country hold broad consultations and develop a revised constitution which will reflect the views and aspirations of the people of Sierra Leone for a democratic country. So interestingly, we get this discussion, really this year, in October, actually, we mark 20 years, exactly 20 years, where the TRC be hand in report over to former President Kaba. So it's a good time for me to take stock. It's a good time for me to go back to some of the key things here so we come out at the TRC. So when the TRC make this recommendation, let President Kaba take immediate step and set up the Peter Tucker Constitutional Review Committee. We complete in work and hand in report over to former President Nkrumah, but former President Nkrumah be see the need for whole wider consultations. And so it's set up what we call the Justice Kawan Constitutional Review Committee, 80 people across all facets of Sierra Leonean society, civil society, political parties, etc. So the Kawan Committee really work whole consultations from 2013 to 2017 and hand over in reports to former President Nkrumah in 2017. The government of President Nkrumah issued a white paper, but not been complete the process. So when President Bio come up government, it make a commitment, say it will take this process here to completion, and so that now what we try for do now.
Okay, you just don't set the stage for let people understand about the review process. But in brief, I just take you back. Waiting so far don't they happen at the office since we wanna take up?
Well, I mean the point is that one, of course, a team in on the office when we join, led by the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, when Mr. Mohamed Lamin Tarawali. And then me coming as in deputy a little over 1 year ago. So first, really for note, say the Office of Attorney General, Minister of Justice. This is the ministry where the Constitution.
Because over the past year, now one of the issues and then the way we don't hear from the justice sector, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice office at this moment, when I get the staff capacity for carry out on our work.
Well, I mean the point when you consider the country injustice needs, we not really we say we did at that capacity, in terms of numbers for do the work we're supposed to do. However, certain steps and the way we take right now. For example, we did about for recruit some more state council. We will come and really add to the numbers and add to the quality of work we do. But in addition to the state council where they work at the ministry, we get to be innovative as well. And that is why Salon, one of the first countries that the sub-region where some years ago take step for institutionalize the role of community paralegals. So we see paralegals, they operate through the legal aid board, then you really work then a crucial part of the justice sector. But also, as I say, we get to be innovative in delivering justice. The idea, as a president on task, for me to get a people-centered approach to justice delivery. When I probably go on see say, over the past week or so, the Law Reform Commission itself done the whole consultations across the country on what we call a proposed mediation law. We will really institutionalize the role of mediators. So certain kinds of disputes we don't need for kind of court. People can exercise an option for take them to community mediators. Trusted people where they live in communities, we will be trained, we will be certified, we will able to handle then disputes in a cost-effective manner inside a day. And so people see justice rights now then doorsteps, and then we free up the pressure on the court system.
Giving updates about activities in the justice sector, and one of the activities them now the constitutional review process we you there for talk about for tell listeners and viewers how far una don't go with them. It be only the premise say this now part of the recommendations them we come on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's report TRC, and now the process stay on. People they listen out and say the process we don't start from Edmund Kawande time, even before that time now. What are the latest on the constitutional review process?
So what we did now that in 2021 there was a government white paper. We call it the second government white paper. And the process is the white paper really supposed to state the recommendations that the committee the recommendations where the government accept. And then one way, it will say, okay, we accept this, but we modify, or then one so we not find them necessary, for include them right now. That none of the white paper. So since then, the process don't sit with the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. We say we did now that the Attorney General and Minister of Justice don't set up a technical working group where they work on the final technical details of the constitutional instruments, as I'll say. So next steps will be one, for really bring the public along, get the public for understand what in this entail, what in this mean for we all. It's really good that the public can participate in a great way during the consultations where Justice Kawan and his team being conducted in this country. And then two, once we draft in constitutional instruments here, so we go table in a parliament. Now we get what we call our constitution, the non-entrenched provisions and the entrenched provisions. For the non-entrenched provisions, of course, parliament go debate and take a vote. And then, of course, based on how the vote go determine which come in the revised constitution or not. And then two, the entrenched provisions, the constitution very clear. Say for entrenched provisions, such as the human rights provisions in the constitution, if you touch them, even if you change a word, you get to come to a referendum for many people say we agree or we not agree. So then one will be the key next steps.
Now, you talk about what in government accept, what in government not accepting the amendments then. But earlier you make mention, say, during Ernest Bai Koroma era, then pull a white paper. In 2021, they pull another white paper. What are the difference between the two white papers and why two white paper on one process?
Well, I can like for say, of course, I can like for say, not to like contradictory white papers. I can like for say, under the government of former President Koroma, yes, the white paper can we accept some of the recommendations. And then when President Bio came in power in 2018 and make a commitment, say it will conclude the process, there was another white paper. So I can like for say this now an upgrade to the white paper we've been get in 2017, and not the 2021 white paper. So you will see, say, they accept more things, So this process really, you could look at it like we they run relay during sport. You understand something where President Kaba starts, he hand the baton over to President Koroma, then President Koroma hand the baton over to President Bio, and now President Bio they take this process to a completion. So really, really an upgrade of the previous white paper.
What in add? What in minus?
Well, the point is that, for example, there are certain human rights provisions. The second white paper, CC necessary for include in the revised constitution. The Kawan committee being also recommend say certain new chapters for be created for the revised constitution. The second white paper, takes step for the effect to that. there were also certain things and we, get for do with sometimes the powers of the presidency. We don't deny country who side the president can really, after consultations with ECSL, set it for election. You understand? But the current Constitutional Review Committee been recommend say, may this country gets a fixed date for election. So, the second white paper accept things like that. So you go say, yes, the first white paper in 2017 do some, and then the second white paper just come and upgrade. Okay,
we can look at the difference between the white paper and within some of the recommendations that we government accept and we government not accept. Continue for stay with you inside the program. Alpha CC, Deputy Justice Minister. The program, good morning, Salon. Continue. We'll go for a short break.
Do you know you can transfer money, buy airtime, and pay all your utility bills in just a minute? You can have access to your accounts anytime, anywhere. Welcome to the world of fast and easy. GT Wall. With the GT Wall, you can transfer money from one GT Co account to another, pay utility bills, get account statements, get airtime, and check your balance. With GT Wall, you can buy Excel anytime, anywhere. You can go to App Store or Play Store on your iPhone and Android devices, download the app, and enjoy. GT Co. Wouldn't you rather bank with us?
The program Good Morning Salon continues. Inside the studios this morning, we want to welcome Ibrahim Tommy. We're the Executive Director for CAL. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Radio Democracy.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm glad for there.
All right. CAL, one of the institutions, them we done the follow the process of the constitutional review, and when I get concerned them about different things them we so far don't they happen during this process. But from the civil society point of view, we want to make up of this review process.
Okay, so again, thank you very much. I think we all don't agree more than perhaps 20 years ago that this constitution, as much as when we passed them in 1991, we hail them as a progressive one in the sense that introduced multi-party democracy. But I think this constitution, for the most part, don't pass in set by date. In other words, we need for review, a comprehensive review, put the people, the country in interest, governance, rule of law, democracy, human rights, access to basic services. We want to put all of those issues at the center of this constitution. But by the way, the top of constitution is easy for the people and just in a law. But really what's important to remember about the constitution are the fundamental principles by which a state is governed. If you say, for example, we own country, we have constitutional democracy. Now this electoral system we adopt, we believe in rule of law, we promote and protect human rights. There are principles with the underpin governance now in the constitution, they broadly lay out. Where the deputy minister will talk about the Criminal Procedure Act to the so you get acts of parliament with them, and then now they flesh out the fundamental principles. So we don't talk on this country many years ago, and it came out in the TRC report. Even before that, the different peace discussions and the Lomé Peace Accord. Say, Lord, get a new constitution. But obviously, I don't think say anybody will gladdy with the fact say it's been 18 years since this process started. 18 years from 2006 to date. It don't go through several iterations. We are here now. We only hope, perhaps like I express that before I forget, that after this long drawn out process, this long wait for a new constitution, and I really mean a new constitution, we go really get new thinking, because it's of law, human rights protection. I mean, there are things we don't see the constitution don't do for countries like Kenya, for example, for South Africa. At the end of this whole process, we hope now that we go really get a constitution. We go make we all say it was worth it. But it's going to be sheer waste of resources and time and expectation for law come out of this process and get a document we call a revised constitution. We could just do some half changes here and there will not make any fundamental difference.
So now we look at, you say everybody be agreed 20 years ago for change this constitution. What do you think say need for be changed in the 1991 constitution?
Musa, thanks a lot. So if you take the Justice Kawan report, may God grant his soul eternal rest. If you check CAL, Center for Accountability and Rule of Law, we got mentioned there perhaps more than 15, 20 times. We do a comprehensive paper and submit it to the committee. And again, we're proud that most of our views were reflected in the report and even the recommendations. So we get a long list of things we would already put out there then day. And I don't think so we'll get 10 for to that one day. But I could just say just broadly the things that really will care about, and it's in our we own DNA as an organization. We care about accountability. We care about rule of law. We care about respect for human rights. We really care about access to basic social and economic services. We want to see a country with one new thinking, perhaps not even question. Let's talk about our political system, Musa. The current constitution first past the post, simple majority presidential system. You have a system really where the country is divided right in the middle politically, and some people they express fear now, even socially. Do you think the current political system works for we country as we do so? Why don't we introduce some new thinking into this? It hurts no one. Again, constitutions can be changed. If you don't try something from 1991 or even before 1991 to date, we are questioning everybody. They say, oh, this winner takes all thing. We say it everywhere you go, you hear people complain. But now we have an opportunity to really do something different. I mean, look, South Africa, for example, who would have thought in 1994, after ANC win, that they left today, they not go for majority. You know why? It's the nature of their political system. We get country where, believe you me, this political system, they entrench two-party system, for better or for worse. And every time you get election, the animosity,
18 years down the line, where this process don't start, it's still not completed. What do you think are some of the reasons then for the delay of the process?
I mean, for the first time, of course, like political process. There's political we get for the deputy minister talk about after the Peter Tucker committee did a good job, because for the most part it was maybe more like desk review and limited consultation. So former President Nkrumah took over in 2008 and got the report. He waited until 2013 before he formed the 80-member committee. The 80-member committee complete and work by 2015, 2016, thereabout. And then he do this limit white paper in 2017. Then the current administration come, now move on down there until 2021. So you can see all of it in our political process, delays by political actors. And I think you have to give it to the international community. They really supported the process with Kawan, and I'm sure there's still goodwill, there's appetite for support this process, as long as we really show we want to do something we transformative. I mean, that's my only interest in this thing. And if you want, I don't just broadly. For example, Musa, I ask a question. When I think we need for change, we always say, Lord, we'll get a new constitution. Why? Because we want a stronger judiciary. We want an independent judiciary. The deputy minister involved in these tripartite discussions. I mean, I have my views on the tripartite, and I'm going to put them out shortly. But let me put this out there. You think, say, if we had a very strong judiciary, people perceptions right about would have had a tripartite process. Again, I don't defend the APC decision of go court. You should always go to court and give the court the opportunity to see evidence. My views about that are clear. But if you flip them, you get people like they say, if we go to court, do not forget favorable decision. The court was always bound to give a silent decision. Not that I agree with those, but that's the perception, right? You probably won't have that sort of outcome in South Africa, probably in Kenya, you get maybe even in Ghana. The point I'm making is, let us go through this process in a way we go make sure, say, no matter whether not APC, SLPP, or the new party will come from, now go in power, but we sure say we have a strong judiciary. The other thing, the big issues, let's talk about huge differences. The current or the second white paper obviously accept more recommendations than the first one. In fact, the first one, for the most part, reject a lot. But we also express disappointment in this current white paper in terms of, in fact, we do a whole matrix on the one that they accept or agree to go, and not even think about environmental issues now, for example. Citizens are forever going to court and challenge government, you understand, and say, yes, your actions, your policies, they basically deny me access to them services that we don't grant. So now one way this white paper reject, what we disagree with.
Parliament don't agree for me, but 11 people serving a different board. Them, the deputy leader, one of government business, na Parliament, Honorable Basiru Siliki, say one thing we don't unblock the operation of the Salon Broadcasting Corporation (SLBC). Now the corruption we don't happen at this institution. I talk this way, remember them now the Parliament being the agree for the different people them way for serve now the SLBC board. For more on this, Mikujan Cherno Jalo.
Honorable members, the question is, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes are.
Set of nominee them, they get them final clearance for member of parliament them. We agree for the appointment we presently we make this BNTM. One set of them people are chairperson at the board of trustees, now the Salon Broadcasting Corporation, Dr. Willie James. The Salon Broadcasting Corporation starts operation as SLBS. We don't be the oldest English broadcaster in West Africa, but this corporation, according to member of parliament, them they get challenged. We make them able for reach the status of other private broadcasters them in the country or other national broadcasters them across the sub-region. One of the challenges they were responsible for this. According to the deputy leader one of government business na parliament, Honorable Bashiru Siliki, now the corruption within the institution over the past years.
Dr. James, SLBC, I can say it's large corruption. Before the last Director General left, they were investigated for corruption. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, go to our constituencies. SLBC is wanting to write to the house. Even to present their own programs. Even to have fear to run their own generator as a challenge. This is the SLBC that inherits. You were part of that board. You had so many ideas, but you were not the board chair. Today, you are taking over as head of the board. We hope the ideas you had when you were board member, you will now transform those ideas into reality.
If people can remember, government been changing the Salon Broadcasting Service to the Salon Broadcasting Corporation. We mean say people on the raise concern say the public broadcaster are more linked to government because of the services they provide to government. We make government being change them into corporation. We mean say now for the talk for the people them and self-provide better service to the people of Salon. But this don't be challenged over the past years. We make now people see and say this institution unable to reach the line of standard compared to modern institutions them where they broadcast TV and radio station. And this now be the position of Honorable Abdul Kagbu, leader of opposition party in a parliament.
So what's the problem with SLBC? This should be the concern of every change I am doing. Ghana has what they call the DTT. It brings together all broadcasting houses in Ghana, all television stations. You don't have to have antenna. You don't have to have transmitter. You just have your own cubic room, and do your broadcast here. It is their own responsibility to ensure that what you do in your cubic room goes public and goes national. They are transformed from analog to digital, and that is what we expect. SLBC, which is the oldest English broadcaster in the whole sub-region, to do also.
With all them concern here, the leader of government business, Honorable Machinima, believes say the Salon Broadcasting Corporation they so because of the not get better couple for implement programs them or much development trend them at the broadcasting field will make in say parliament get big role for play.
When budget comes, SO2, Speaker, you know what's going to have all the debate. If they put a 3 billion, not to 5 billion, we have the right to do it. Let us squeeze them. But we continue to talk about SLBC, talk and talk. If we don't do reality, they will look at us as people who just stop with nothing.
This position from Honorable Martin Nima. Now, one way Honorable Dane Kuruma, deputy leader of opposition at parliament, been disagreed with because it thinks a parliament's power no reach yonder.
Sorry, sir, it's in support of the general chief.
I want to observe. I am not ordinary. I am MP extraordinary.
Sorry for interruption. It's in support of the general initiative. And this time now, with all joint hands to ensure SLBC transform from analog to digital.
I agree.
By better project support.
I agree.
So in line with that, there's a very bad law which I consider finance. Okay? That disempowers we members of parliament from improving on the budget figures. You know, we cannot do it above 5%. We cannot reduce below 5%. So what I advise that during the negotiation stage, before the budget figures are presented to parliament, that is the time we should influence or force Minister of Finance to give the figures we accept. But once they are presented to us, we cannot increase above 5%. We cannot decrease below 5%.
As one to be clear, between them two different members of parliament and the fact say they want more support for go to the Silent Broadcasting Corporation. This then position now the speaker self, Honorable Sengepo Solomon Thomas, being support.
Let me assure you that it's going to be different this year. When the budget comes, we have to negotiate before we finally come here.
Inside this sitting, Parliament been agreed for make Dr. Willett James serve as chair of Board of Trustees and the Silent Broadcasting Corporation. Mr. Isaac Soa be member na that same board day. Honorable Bintu Myers serve as chairperson Board of Directors na the Silent Maritime Administration. Mr. Ibrahim Yelenke be chairman National Sports Authority and 7 other people for working different board them. For the Society for Radio Democracy, me, Nachem Nojalo. The report.
The program is still listening to now. Good morning, Salon. We come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We will bring you this edition of the program. Musa Kamara na my name.
And my name Usman Kamara.
In this edition, we look at the constitutional review process. Alpha now ide. We get the Deputy Justice Minister Alpha Sise, and also we get the Executive Director Center for Accountability and the Rule of Law CAL. We come to Alpha Sise. Earlier, you talk about the recommendations them within government accept and within government don't accept. For listeners, them, what are some of the things them we government accepts and we government not accepts now the recommendation list?
So you know, first make a state say the matrix way my brother Mr. Tommy they talk about as part of we effort for be very transparent about this process, we get for lay all out to the public, let people and see what's in the recommendations where governments accept and the recommendations where government feels say not necessary for come inside the revised constitution. I also want to add one thing quick, Musa, if you don't mind, in response to me brother in comment about yes, being bold, being very deliberate about within a revised constitution for look like, and not for close the door. Yes, you know, make reference so we don't get this discussion before about, you know, closing the door, not closing the door. Very clear, say, this constitutional review process not get anything for do with extending in term beyond the 5-year mandate with the people of Sierra Leone or increasing the 5-year term from 5 years to 7 years. It don't be very clear, say, this is his last term in 2028, he will not be on the ballot. So that is not why we are revising the constitution.
So that not at all, even not for President B again, but for upcoming president after in now.
Not at all. There is nothing in this constitutional review process we get for do with somebody becoming eligible for run for a 3rd term. There's nothing in this constitutional review process where they suggest say with the increase the term of the presidency from 5 years to 7 years. It remains say somebody eligible for run for a 2nd term, you serve 2 terms, that is it. You serve 5 years, whether in a 1 term or in a 2nd term of 5 years, that is it. No 7 years.
All right, before we go for a break, a concern again we people learn the reason that the age of somebody who want to be president. In any case, wanna capture some of the issues there.
You know, not one of the things and way the constitutional review process is deal with. The constitution very clear say for be eligible for run for president, you for be 40. So that is not one of the things we this process the attend for change. And of course, there have been suggestions, public discussions for as we did now other countries, but like I say, what Mr. Tomide, as we can say, these processes are not closed until the enactment don't really happen. Yes, so it's good for be bold, it's good for be ambitious, and drive forward a democratic system in our country.
I continue for the with me inside the program, Alpha CC, Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice, as we therefore look at the constitutional review process. We'll come back, we can look at issues them and talk to Mr. Tommy for talk about some of the things that you say, whether they are civil society, okay, we will go for a break, we'll continue the program. Good morning, Saloon.
Any hour where you sleep and wake, you dey ask yourself, wetin GT Bank get for we again? Well, GT Bank gladly for tell you say, anybody can do MoneyGram and real money service na any GT Bank branch near you and receive gift wey go make you at gladly. E no mean say pass you be GT Bank customer. E like you not to customer na the bank. Just back a go na any GT Bank branch near you and do you real money or MoneyGram service and receive fine gift from GT Bank. GT Bank, it go better you bank with me.
But although I know say realistically, it would have been very difficult for get process 35. But maybe once you reduce down to 35, expand that bracket between 35 and 40 now and give people any chance. But again, as the deputy minister say, the door is not shut on the process. Perhaps so go parliament, we get young people in the parliament, and maybe then go take them up and run with them. The other thing we Abuan talk about, we perhaps not talk about, and we really important now this period of resignation. Remember, say now if I run for parliament, for example, like they work in a public office, if they resign 12 months, but the constitution not accepted certain public officers, for example, military, it then resign to 6 months instead of 12 months. Also the electoral system we the minister talk about. So me not get problem with reducing it to 50 plus 1, but my only problem is that if you just make it like that, based on the way how we country is divided right in the middle, politically and obviously they take a regional dimension. So if SLBC able go fed for 50% of the or for votes, maybe even get 48% of total votes cast in the southeast, it just need 2% from the rest of the country. Why would such a government care about development across the country? Where already they get maybe 48%, 45%. Same with APC. If they will get that amount from the Northwest, why would they care? I mean, that's reality. So if you reduce it to 50.1, Miguanlo will introduce some other things. So for example, you will get a threshold. So even if you get 50% or even 52% across the country, if you not get 10% from each region or 15% from each, we go discuss and agree on the threshold. That go now make any government in a power say not to just 50 plus 1. No, I need forget votes on McKinney, I need forget votes on Kalon, I need forget votes from Bo, so that you could get a government they really get a true national identity. But that still they go back to the whole point about the political system. So this is critical. If you get that kind of, you now think about, should we continue by the way, and this is something that we should talk about, the PR system. This white paper now don't accept the recommendation or recommend say the PR system be made with electoral system for parliament. You understand? Not for president though. So going forward, if this constitution pass, we get a PR system. The only thing we go also suggest is let the constitution let the constitution set the threshold. The threshold not for be more than 5%. Because the whole idea of a PR system, we had this discussion before the 2020 election. If you the PR system is supposed to bring a lot of smaller groups, minority groups, emerging parties, so that if you go as a threshold, now see what happen, we don't get effectively a two-party parliament, because the other party there, they aspire, right? They don't shut them up because the threshold should be very high. And part of the problem, in fact, the main reason for that, now the formula will be used for say that threshold. We talked about it, but people are not listening. People just now you name them. So the whole point is, let's get, if in a PR with the goal, let's make sure say we carve a system where they ensure say we reduce the threshold and encourage smaller parties, minority interest for camps. So now the other thing that what we really want talk about. The disappointing thing is, there's this 77 one KLN where they say, particularly 1K where they say, if you go to parliament, you take position with different than your party on whose ticket to go parliament. They can remove you from parliament because you will lose your party membership. The white people reject them, which for me is disappointing. I really want we possibly go to parliament, let's serve in conscience and serve the country. Talk about loss of party membership. The good thing is that this Supreme Court decision will be saved. Then sacking a party in the Sam Sumana case, if you lost your party membership, you can lose your position as president or even vice president. And that basically the white people, I don't know, say no, go happen again. So obviously that go get for be an amendment. There'll be an amendment to that particular provision for make sure say they set them straight. So now some of the things and done, but me, like we put on paper, I find it's a bit disappointing. It's still disappointing that we not do something we transformative for the judiciary, for the police, for even socio-economic. For example, government is spending now 22% of we budget on education, right? Healthcare, they see some movement upwards. Now, if you now can't get a government, we go say, it's not vote for me. I'll make sure say education budget are reducing significantly. In fact, they close some schools and will not get money. You clearly say discriminatory policy. How can you not sue that sort of government at the High Court of Sierra Leone, or perhaps even the Constitutional Court? So talking about judiciary. So what they talk about judiciary, we just talk broadly, but there are concrete things the Constitution can do. For example, right now with Supreme Court, now one court for human rights, same court for constitutional matters, same court for everything, just one division of the Supreme Court. The Constitution can create a whole constitutional court where constitutional matters.
But according to Mr. Sise, that they do not still open.
No, open. So no, why am I raising this issue? I'm raising these issues because again, there are many stages. At this stage, it's possible that again, he's listening, and there are others who are involved in this process who are listening. It's possible that they will pick it up at some point and say, what? Law include that at this stage. But if we fail at this stage, members of parliament, they listen. Hopefully they are convinced or persuaded by some of these ideas, and they'll be there as gatekeepers. And if they give the opportunity, and you have to give them credit, in the last few years, really in the last 2 years, they have a new modus operandi where they invite civil society members of the public, especially on human rights and these potentially controversial laws, for give their input. So we're hoping that they will open the door for let we comment on some of the things there.
Continue to stay with me inside the program. Ibrahim Tommy, who will come back. We go engage you on one of the challenge in the 1991 Constitution, where people think say the presidents get plenty power. How this review, they reduce some of them powers there, so we make the president then so powerful and do certain things in our society. They're not able to hold them on that. The program Good Morning Salon, they continue. If you just join, we will look at the constitutional review process.
Inside the program now, they take one of headlines to them. Usai as Salon and South Korea government, they serve as non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. The president, Julius Maada Bio, says Salon ready for work with South Korea government for promote peace and security at the United Nations Security Council. President Bio talk this inside 2 Africa Korea summit, where the South Korean government hold for the first time for Africa leader them. We start June 4 this year. Kabia gets more and gonna report.
The African Korea Summit na summit where the Korean government they all now for the first time. Also them bring together about 48 African head of states and other representative them from different countries them. We start June 4 and go down June 5 this year. Now the King's Text International Center na Korea, who side and talk on sustainability. How forget to the party business between Africa and the South Korea. And this summit, they focus on climate change, food security, technology, mining, investments, and other areas. Them. With the theme, the future we make together, shared growth, sustainability, and solidarity. Salon and one part the country then we take part na the first African Korea Summit. Usai the President Julius Maada Bio na be the head of Salon delegation with other member them na in government. We get to do with the First Lady, the Chief Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Minister of Mines and other one them. Usai Salon go showcase different area them. We get to do with the mining sector, agriculture, innovation and technology and other one them. The President Julius Maada Bio been get different meeting them na South Korea. Usai in the talk on partnership area them. Way for day between Salon and the South Korean governments. The President be same way so talk on in big 5 game changer them. We get for do with feed Salon, human capital development, youth employment scheme, revamping the public sector architecture, innovation and technology. President Julius Maada Bio during this summit been say Salon ready for welcome strategic support with the Korean government for food security, human capital development, infrastructure development, technology, trade and investment. We all the president say na for get strength so then 2 countries are the economy. The President Julius Maada Bio Keyon say Salon ready for work with the South Korean government. Now the United Nations Security Council as then 2 countries they serve as non-permanent member na the UN Security Council for promote peace and security. As in say international peace na one way key. Where this is say then go work with the Korean government and other member them na the UN Security Council for say they achieve this. President Julius Maada Bio say Salon go commit himself during in term na the Security Council for fulfill the United Nations in paramount responsibility when for maintain international peace and security. Where in the talk, the South Korean President Yoo Sang-yong be first welcome the leader from Africa and self-talk on the importance of collaboration and partnership with the African leader them and say the Korean government ready for support African country them na different area them we get to do with food security, climate change, innovation and technology and other one them. In Keyon say for give more strength to cooperation and collaboration with African country them, the Korean government under the official development assistance program, then go give $10 million support and serve for support trade and investment, then go give $14 billion for support different area than Africa. For Radio Democracy, Kabia the reports.
Another money. I say fumble. I say advice for me the minister. I say if you see the cannabis to them, I say when they talk, I say some young person in there now, the car wash you missing. I say now you go for it. I say 9% they tell me say what about. I say that money they buy ten a dictionary them go buy for learn more English. And see that thing they now for speak English more and more. I say fumble. I say all of we again. I say at the beginning see some people they watch when we miss Jeff and themselves no say. Even if na them family and get some social club, they no go team up. I say na they only look like say now them fit and they able. Now say who do they give these people then these capers for let them they court. I say I they say Allah is one say He own 9 get 2018. Next 9 go get 2035. Dura, I say Pambul, that we ambassador of peace. I say, I say that they just select the music way pool. You don't do them. Me, na the honorable Akabot.
Well, from Walkabout, we come back now, studio, and join with studio guests them. Today we look at the constitutional review process. We come to Alpha Sisi, Deputy Justice Minister. Earlier we talked about public participation or the citizens' participation. Somebody go like for ask how participatory this process is, especially with the oppositions. We don't raise concern, say they not even know what in the happen at the constitutional review process.
Well, I mean, the point is that I think say that's one of the side and where we need for make clarity. One, for say the opposition don't know about this process, not true, because take note, say now the opposition actually deliver much of this work. Now during the life of the APC, Nikalan, now during the life the APC, the government of former President Nkrumah, where we get the constitutional review process. We work from 2013 to 2017, and we President Bill come, they say, no, we don't need for start a new process. Let's just continue from where APC.
They are aware of the current trend with the happen now at the constitutional review since 2017 when the process been stopped and start back.
Well, yeah. So when the white paper come out in 2021, that be a very public event, covered by the media and all. Now, of course, there were certain legislative priorities, because the country moving to elections. But even as we move into elections, certain key recommendations will be in there inside the white paper. Government is seeing it for legislate on them. For example, the GIWI Act, the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act, now being one of the recommendations. But government is say it be necessary for legislate even before the elections. So it did that. Everybody be know. Abolition of the death penalty. Everybody be know. And then now that we don't take steps, say we're taking this process to conclusion, we intend for be very, very for ensure say it's very participatory. So that is why, one, are they out here? I don't be taxed by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Mr. Mohamed Lamin Tarawali, say make a take step for explain this process to people. And then two, we therefore get engagement with specific actors, interest groups. So we therefore get meeting with other political parties and really run them through this process with civil society, with women's groups, where now interest group as well.
The constitutional review process now a political process. If that's the case, the All People's Congress, when are the main opposition, then they part of the committee will now set up now for look at the constitutional review process.
So now the All People's Congress been set up the committee, when are the Justice Kawan committee. So after Justice Kawan handover in report, the committee ceased to exist. So since Kawan handover in report to government, will not get constitutional review committee again. What we will get now the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, they drive the process from within an office for taken to conclusion. But as the Attorney General, they drive this process, they develop constitutional instruments for table in Parliament. The Attorney General also don't be very clear and with directives from the presidency for continue for engage the opposition, for continue for engage other political parties, for continue for engage civil society and bring the public along in this process. So this is going to be a continued process. So yes, you can be rest assured, say, we can forget a sit down with your brothers and sisters and at the opposition. We walk through this process. We explain this to them. Of course, they're not seeing that the process will them in start. Now when they take to completion, we can forget continued discussions with civil society, with local communities, up to the time with this process they get to conclusion. So we really want to make sure that there's public understanding and support and there's national ownership in this process.
All right, from concern that we come out from the opposition, it seems as if like gap day in terms of communication between the constitutional review committee and the public. That's one. My colleague asked you earlier on about the power of the president. We are in the country concerned about how the president in power. We are in, I say, get too much power. Something in the is executive authority. The reviewable capture for reduce some of the power of the president.
Well, yes. So basically, of course, we all be concerned about the exercise of supreme executive authority. We really become something where we lay out as a country after the sacking of former Vice President Sam Sumana, and then with the Supreme Court the interpretation of what's in supreme executive authority mean. So for a lot of people, that being really established the president gets too many powers. So in this constitutional review process, the committee makes specific recommendation as to how the president will even exercise such powers or not exercise such powers, as maybe what I say when it comes to the position of the vice president. So now the proposal is that make the constitution be very clear, say the president cannot sack the vice president, and that if the vice president lose membership in the political party, there's a procedure triggered within the constitution on how impeachment proceedings go happen. So that's power now taken away from the president. And then one of the recommendations then, where the second white paper accept. I've been mentioned earlier, for the longest time now this country also, we can sit down and they wait for make president announce date for election. In case the president they consult, we don't know whether we get election in March or we get election in June or in October. Now the constitution very clear say the revised constitution will be very clear. Say make this power not rest in the hands of the president. Make this be established in the constitution. Say there's a fixed date for election. So they want to waste them for control presidential powers, you know, as suggested, as proposed in the revised. As proposed for the revised constitution.
Okay, when they send message them on 077981981 also on our Facebook page. Now, time for to take few messages them and come back to the studio guest them. Usman?
This one say, since 2016 to date, we are still talking about constitutional review, and now the white paper, this is just another method to suppress the opposition because it will not change anything, especially the bread and butter. I come out from McTen, New England. This
from Aaron Arun Kuruma on our Facebook page. They say entrenched or non-entrenched clauses, as long as they seek to alter the extant 1991 constitution, must receive a resolution of parliament of not less than 2/3 of all members of parliament, and in the case of the 6th parliament, you need at least 99 MPs voting in favor to achieve any alteration. Referendum comes after the vote of 2/3 majority in parliament.
And this other one say, please ask Mr. Tommy and the deputy minister that they talk about the Loma Peace Accord. Can they kindly explain what causes the 11-year war in the accordance? It's not too clear.
This one say, please ask the Deputy Justice Minister what are some of the powers of the president that they reduced in the revised constitution.
And this other one say, Mr. Minister, unamiable look inside for let the president not the pick the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, and the Police IG.
This one from Saleh Cole on Facebook page on the SLBC story says, changing the board won't solve the problem at SLBC. They are not getting subvention from the states.
And this other one say, this program is timely, thanks Radio Democracy.
From Mr. Free Taylor Street, he said, hope you guys will look at 77K.
This other one say, the constitution really don't hold, and we need new thing them.
And a quick one from Saleko again, say, why won't they ask we the people to say what we want in the constitution and not take decisions and force it on the people? Why referendum?
And this other one say a lack of communication between the citizen and government concerning the review process.
The last one from me for now, because of time, they come up for Michael Indove Lagao Monrovia Jr. Say, from what I've seen through the appointment of young people in this government, it shows that young people have the competency to serve as president. So I am please asking the Constitutional Review Committee to consider young people representation as president.
The last one we myself could take from Saleko, say, why do not they ask we the people to say what we want in the constitution and not take decision and then force it on the people?
We come to a studio guest then, but from Alfred P. Quick, say, could you please comment on Section 14 of the 1991 Constitution? If the government has the power to punish tax invaders, why can't the government be held liable for failing to provide the basic social amenities for its citizens? We start with Ibrahim Tommy for respond to some of the text messages, then we don't come quick.
No, quickly on the presidential powers, maybe I'll go respond to the text messages and other comments that we don't plan for me. Quickly, yes, on presidential powers, clearly, this white paper not go far enough for make sure so we really regulate the powers of the president. So, by the way, me think say the president will keep all them powers that we get at the constitution, but the problem with the constitution is it not regulate them enough, such that the president can exercise them powers without, for example, reference to the parliament. And the other thing we'll not talk about really now how for strengthen the parliament and make sure the parliament get the resources and the required oversight from citizens for let them do their work. So we perhaps need, after this whole process, we will need a presidential act. This is something that I've talked about. A presidential act we go really set out within where you see the president, for example, can set up an office or appoint an office, which when at the scope, the limitations of that power will not get into the regulator. Now, that's not the thing about excessive presidential or executive powers. Now, that's not the one thing we need to talk about. So, but they ask question about Section 14. Now we talk about justiciability of socio-economic rights. So, they'll discuss that one day. The other thing I want to talk about really is, I have to go back to this point quickly, Musa. The whole point about any country, for any country go before, the majority, vast majority of people feel like they have a stake in the running of that country. If you did in a country where, for example, supposed to get 40% of the votes cast, a political party, or even 42% of votes cast, then that political party not get any way for participate. It doesn't even have to be at the ministerial level. Even in commissions, in different bodies, they not get any way for contribute. How much take you think and facing go get? So that is why in this review, we have to take a holistic look at the way our governance and political system is structured for make sure, say, we'll get a low threshold, for example, we'll go for make sure, say, political party do very well. They do very well. We system reward them some kind of participation in government. Finally, on the issue of the complexion of local, at the end of the day, this whole tension, right now, current problem in Salon, twofold, socioeconomic issues and this political tension. We have to now craft a constitution. We're going to make sure that we address the fundamental issues.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Tommy, the Executive Director of Center for Accountability and the Rule of Law. Carl, be getting your input into the constitutional review process. Alpha, say quick one. Text messages them and tell who said the process they now and when will they see Botana Parliament.
Well, thank you very much. First, I'm glad for people and questions and comments, and for states say this not going to be the last day we get this discussion. We want for the getting discussions just now frequently, and gets the public along. Next steps, like I say, we continue then consultations here, so meet with political parties, meet with civil society and other interest groups, generate discussions around this process in our communities, and then of course we table the constitutional instruments to Parliament. Non-entrenched provisions get a vote. Entrenched provisions go to referendum, just like how one of the texters then say, with the 2/3 votes by MPs. I really just want to assure the public say this is not a thing we're shrouded in secrecy. This is not a thing for suppress opposition. The opposition has been part of this. The opposition had started this process, and they just take them to conclusion. I don't really get enough time to respond to all the questions, but this not going to be the last time, and I will then again for take this process forward.
But quick one, somebody sent a question. We are in a safe and I'm able to capture. Let the president not pick the Chief Justice.
And also, what you want to reduce about the power of the president?
Well, of course, the power of the presidency, I just don't give, certain examples, in which, say, you regulate the powers of the presidency. We don't see, decision for change, for alter the people a mandate, by sacking the vice president. Now, a revised constitution will curtail that. I also mentioned, how would they even conduct elections? Those are to me, but there are other things, and I really believe, say, yes, we need systems in place. We are in checks and balances will really apply. Now, as to the appointment of the Chief Justice, the IG, the Attorney General are part of the President's cabinet. So that you can't, take that power away from him. And the appointment of Chief Justice and the Inspector General of Police and other appointments and beyond this. Those are presidential powers. Maybe waiting before we talk about now that how we go make sure say those powers are exercised, one using the right judgment in any way. We are in there are checks, and balances so that we just not to fish anybody, and put another position here. So, I think that now for the really talk about.
Plenty thank you to Alpha Sise, Deputy Justice Minister, for joining us the edition of the program Good Morning Saloon for look at the constitutional review process. And plenty thank you to Ibrahim Tommy for Center for Accountability and the Rule of Law for making join we inside the edition of the program Good Morning Saloon.
All right, well, I go to the curtains of the program. Good morning, Salon. We come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. One for say plenty thank you to studio guest them this morning, and plenty thank you to producer Michael Sambola. Kabia, we support. Bye bye.
And we come to say bye bye.
If you want to subscribe to the TPP Lyon YouTube page on your phone, click and open the YouTube app. Now the search box, just type Komon-Tok and click enter. When the page displayed, look at the top middle and click the subscribe button. Subscribe. And not tap the click the bell close to the subscribe button and select all. As you don't subscribe, so anytime we go live, you go be among the first people them where they get notification. If you want to subscribe to the TPP Lyon YouTube page on your phone, click and open the YouTube app. Now the search box, just type Komon-Tok and click enter. When the page displayed, look at the top middle and click the subscribe button. Subscribe. And not tap the click the bell close to the subscribe button and select all. As you don't subscribe, so anytime we go live, you go be among the first people them where they get notification. If you want to subscribe to the TPP Lyon YouTube page on your phone, click and open the YouTube app. Now the search box, just type Komon-Tok and click enter. When the page displayed, look at the top middle and click the subscribe button. Subscribe. And not tap the click the bell close to the subscribe button and select all. As you don't subscribe, so anytime we go live, you go be among the first people them where they get notification.
One platform for news within our country, alone for education, entertainment, political affairs, TV. We got enough Tanga one inside Sierra Leone, like a big quantity. We breeze not a shit,